There are many reasons we choose to protect things. Because they're valuable, or vulnerable, precious, or priceless. And to secure the most essential elements in our connected world, we rely on cybersecurity professionals certified by ISC Squared. Their proven expertise helps safeguard the data and technology that offer us access and convenience, and shields the lives we want to lead. In a world worth protecting, ISC Squared is there.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's panel discussion. It is an absolute pleasure to have all of you here with us today. The topic of today's discussion, empowering women leaders, a conversation on career guidance and leadership skills. This is a discussion presented to you by the ISC Squared Colombo chapter of Sri Lanka, alongside Women in Cybersecurity, an initiative by ISC Squared Colombo chapter of Sri Lanka. And we'd also like to mention the national partner, the Information and Communication Technology Agency, the community partner, ISACA Sri Lanka chapter, and last but not least, the collaboration partner, Articulate Asia. And joining us today, the panelists of today's discussion, the leader for technical marketing in security at Cisco Security Business Group from India, Anu Chako, the head of cybersecurity and governance at the University of New South Wales, Australia, Nivedita Nivar, and the senior manager for regional cluster development at the Information and Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka, Chadika Yahampa. And of course, to moderate today's discussion, alongside us, we have the board member and director of Women in Cybersecurity of ISC Squared's Colombo chapter, Sri Lanka, Samanthi Sudariku. And I'd also like to mention, without forgetting, joining us from the Committee of Women in Cybersecurity, Suhashini Somasundaram and Sammani Rambakrella. And last but not least, the cherry on top, the president of ISC Squared Colombo chapter of Sri Lanka, Sujit Christie. And last but not least, I would also like to mention that we are currently live on Facebook and LinkedIn pages of the ISC Squared chapter and the YouTube and Twitter pages of Articulate Asia. So for everyone joining us from all of these platforms for today's panel discussion, welcome to today's show. So without further ado, to start this session, I would now like to invite the president of the ISC Squared Colombo chapter of Sri Lanka, Sujit Christie, for the welcome note.
Thank you, Rasula. Good evening, everyone. It's indeed a great pleasure to be here in your midst, and I welcome to this wonderful and great panel discussion which we're going to have today. And as Rasula mentioned, we're going to have eminent speakers going to share their experience and views. And I'm sure this will definitely help those people who are considering a career change or even a career shift, right? or some people may even think of coming back into the workforce. And I'm sure all of you will find a lot of encouragement from these eminent speakers. And I also want to call out for the students who are out there, if you're looking out to pursue a career in cybersecurity, and I'm sure you'll be able to pick a few good tips from the ladies out here today. I also want to say that this has been a great effort put in by the Women in Cybersecurity team to bring this second program. We also want to thank you for taking the time, effort, and conceptualizing this webinar. I also want to mention that while we have done one program in January, celebrating women in cybersecurity, this time around we are going to be talking about the challenges, the success, and what it takes to be in the cybersecurity space for a lady or a woman. We also look forward to having similar events in the future. One of those things which we are conceptualizing right now, crime against women, or cybercrime against women. And that's something which we are conceptualizing, and I'm sure we will be able to come back to you and talk more about that in the near future. So with that note, I once again want to thank all of you for taking time to be in the panel. And I know for Nivedita, it's almost past midnight, and thank you for being here. And all the others for taking time to be here and share your views. And we sincerely and greatly appreciate your time and effort. So with that note, I just want to quickly hand over the session to Samanthi. Samanthi, over to you.
Thank you, Sujit. Hello again, everyone, from wherever the globe you're joining. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. It is indeed a pleasure for me to have this conversation with these wonderful ladies, experts in their fields, to bring you some insights on the skills and competencies and what's out there for you when you want to pursue a career in cybersecurity. We showed some statistics at the beginning of the session from the 2021 cybersecurity workforce study done by ISCC Squared, which surveyed over 4,700 individuals from North America, Latin America, Europe, and Asia Pacific, which surveyed various aspects of working in the cybersecurity field, including workforce staffing shortages, education, and skills needed to do a job in cybersecurity. The study interestingly showed that there's an uptake and there's an increase in women representation in the profession, but still for all, there is a shortage and only 25% of the workforce is represented by females. And there is a skill shortage of nearly 2.7 million worldwide as of 2021. So before we dive into the skills required in the cybersecurity profession, I would like to first ask Nivedita on insights into what are the different career paths available for a person interested in getting into the cybersecurity field in the first instance.
Thank you, Sam. So in terms of the career paths, there are essentially 4 core domains of careers. One is the governance side of things, where you can manage the policy framework and you can manage the overarching governance oversight function. So there are entry-level roles such as analysts and specialists that is easy, and essentially there's a lot of exposure in that specific domain. Then the next domain is the risk management domain. So this is a domain that requires some experience with respect to managing risk throughout its life cycle. So again, analyst roles and the consultant and advisory roles are in this space are a little senior, compared to the governance space where you can, have build your career and, the hand holding and stuff like that is more prevalent. The third domain is the program or project management side of things. So with project management, you have roles like business analyst, technical analyst, communication specialist, culture specialist, and even change managers, project managers. So those are, again, roles which mostly are contractual roles, but also permanent roles. So there's, again, a broad exposure in that space. And the fourth domain is security operations or incident response. So this is the space that is most stereotypical of cybersecurity, where usually people that are not so familiar with cybersecurity understand that cybersecurity is all about hacking and, visualize this person that is doing the white hat or black hat as somebody in a hoodie. So that space is quite interesting. Actually, it's a mix of the incident response, monitoring of the security events, as well as managing the controls, cybersecurity controls across the domain.
Brilliant. So I think it's, when you're getting into the field, it's not just one path. There are several options, or too much options, some might say, to choose from. So thank you for that, Nivedita. Chandika, I just want to pose to you on the next question. We mentioned there's a cyber security skills shortage worldwide, Chandika. So I know you have done a lot of work on research to identify the skill, demand, and supply in Sri Lanka. Based on your work, Chandika, do you see a demand for females in the overall technology arena profession and also in the cyber security profession in Sri Lanka?
Thank you, Sam, for the question. Good evening to all of you. My short answer is yes, and the demand is significant, I would say. If we look at statistics, Sam, the National IT BPM Workforce Survey conducted by ICTA highlights the skill shortage, annual skill shortage of the IT BPM industry as 12,000. So this number is getting increased year by year. On the other hand, the digital economy of ICTA already working on building 300,000 workforce to the IT BPM industry by 2024. So we want to add another 150,000 people to the present workforce in Sri Lanka. If we look at the present female participation in the ICT workforce, that is at 29%. So when we look at university statistics, it indicates the gender balance as 50-50. So here we see a trend that some women don't choose IT as their career, but they choose different areas, even having IT degree. That is one of the assumptions that we can make by looking at numbers. So when we look at the cybersecurity profession, we recently conducted this research on skills gap in the IT industry that was published by the ICT Industry Skills Council. They replace the cybersecurity as the second place among the most emerging occupational areas in Sri Lanka. So 22% of IT companies have claimed that they are going to recruit cybersecurity professionals to their workplace in 2022. So cybersecurity is going to be a key driver in our future workforce. However, the women participation in cybersecurity field is also at a low level. Before I come into this discussion, I actually had a conversation with a few organizations who are into cybersecurity in Sri Lanka, and I found that the female participation in their workforce is below 10%, unfortunately. So in the meantime, there are a lot of female leaders in powerful positions in leading organizations and holding positions like Chief Information Security Officer in Sri Lanka. So that means there are enough opportunities already created in the industry for women to enter and succeed in the cybersecurity space. But these opportunities are not explored fully by females. So in a nutshell, Sam, yes, employers are willing to offer rewarding jobs to females professionals in the IT industry as well as cybersecurity. But we want to further encourage females to grab these opportunities and to become successful cybersecurity professionals in this area.
Oh, that's a lot of great insight, Shalvika. Especially, I think on par, I think we are better in 29% of women being in the workforce compared to the worldwide of 24, but it's still close. And it's good to hear from your discussions with the organization that there is opportunity out there. So I think for the people on the call, this is a good opportunity to see how to get into those opportunities, what you need to do. So thanks, Chandrika, for that. So we looked at multiple roles available in the cybersecurity field and what is available in Sri Lanka. And I think everyone agrees that there is a shortage, but it's not getting filled. And I'm sure the workforce people here today want to join the workforce. So Anu, I think I want to direct the next question to you. Any tips and guidance on what a candidate should look for or consider when deciding to go into any path in the cybersecurity of the 4 domains or any other aspect?
So before I get into that, I just want to provide some context on what the needs of this domain looks like today, right? With the kind of environment that we're living in, there are constant attacks that are happening on organizations, governments, financial institutions, hospitals, so on. And 2 years ago, we were all part of this COVID revolution when we all went into work from home. And that actually put a lot of focus on security as a subject. An employee should be able to securely connect back to the network of their organization, access tools and resources that they need to do their day-to-day work. So that became the #1 concern of every IT department of every company. Now imagine if a company's data was stolen by a man-in-the-middle attack, right? And what if that data breach cost millions and billions of dollars as loss for that company? Imagine a ransomware attack. And everyone here must be familiar with the WannaCry ransomware attack. It was a very, very famous one. It exploited a vulnerability in the Windows operating system, and it targeted over 300,000 systems globally. So can you imagine the impact of an attack like that in a hospital or on an emergency center? So coming to what we need talent in the security space who can stay one step ahead of an attacker. There are threats like WannaCry. There was one that was very recently launched on Kaseya that are targeting people like you and me, and taking advantage of vulnerabilities in our network, our applications, our endpoints, sometimes even our personalities, right? And they are getting more and more complex every time. So we need a lot more experts to be equipped with the know-how on predicting these attacks, stopping them before they even actually start. And we'll be more powerful and effective when we have more diversity in our teams, more diverse ideas on the table. Because with more diverse ideas and opinions, we just have a better chance of winning this fight. So if you're someone, let's say, interested in network security, and Nivedita spoke about a lot of the opportunities that exist within security, as a network security engineer, you have to design your network in such a way that there are no loopholes. Or if you're exploring incident response, you need more innovative ideas on how to counter losses, right? So in summary, if you want to go into this field, I say a keen interest and curiosity is the first step to get into it. Once you have that, there are plenty of resources to help you through learning and advancing in this field. So if you have that, that's the best starting point.
Brilliant. So what you said is, so really you need
Sam, I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yes, I think what you're saying is what you need to consider is don't think of technical skills. there is a need, but if you have the interest and the curiosity, that's what you need to consider if you want to go into this field, right? Yeah. So Nivedita, what about your thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I echo Anu's thought about having the passion for cybersecurity. That is one of the most important ingredients in the mix. So when you do have the passion, because cybersecurity is a very interesting and complicated type of job where you're applying cybersecurity. It's like applied science on top of all the different layers and types of technology. So one of the key things is the attitude by which you want to consume, and you have the hunger to understand more and more layers and depths of cybersecurity so that you can apply it correctly, so that you can protect your organization and your nation against the attacks that have even life safety threats today. So that is one of the key messages that I would like to share in this context.
Thanks, Nivi. So Anu, I think I want to pose the next question to you. You talked about, keen interest and curiosity. So I think you sort of hinted on, it's not just really technical skills. So I just want to say, I think soft skills are essential. But why is soft skills essential from your experience?
Sure. Yeah, I think some soft skills, some of the soft skills that you definitely need is approaching a problem, right? The right way to approach a problem that is there in front of you. Ability to understand that problem, ability to understand the details of that issue, and be able to think quickly on ways to solve it using the most logical method and using the least number of steps, right? Because things happen very quickly and immediately in this field. So yeah, so that the reason you need these soft skills is because a lot of things are kind of hinging on you as a professional, issues that need to be resolved. And unless you have that acumen to solve problems, to look at that problem, solving that issue, and paying close attention to what's going on, how should the response be crafted, because a lot of people might be panicking. So a part of your job is also ensuring them that it's going to be okay. We're going to come back on track, and you need to have that human part of you as well, connect with your customer or your client. So the job requires these particular things as soft skills in you. So, and also be ready for multiple failures as well, right? You might not get things right in the first step. It might take a few tries. So it's just a part of this domain. That's what makes it interesting.
So true. I know.
Thank you, Anu. I'd also like to add to it that Anu touched on a very good point about the customer, and that reminds me the understanding the business. So today, cybersecurity is seen as one of the business enablers. It is one of the existential requirements for the business to operate and to sustain and to continue the quality of service that they provide, as well as to manage and maintain the brand's reputation. So for every individual within the business to have that sense, business acumen, and understand what is the business top priority, what is the business's top pain point from the top level. It could be maintaining the trust with its shareholders. So even if you're an analyst and you just have an entry-level role, understanding that broader perspective or where exactly you fit in terms of contributing to the business as a security enabler is very important. Having a strategic acumen on what exactly your cybersecurity program is trying to build its direction of travel, because you're not just providing the response, you're also, in a sense, building a defense in depth, secure ecosystem of cybersecurity, and you're plugging in security by design from the very beginning. So that is important. And also having a financial acumen of what the impact can lead to from a business perspective actually gives you that ability. So these are all analytical and problem solving skills that Anu was just talking about. So that's what I have to add to it. Thank you.
I also agree with Anu and Nivedita, Sam. Soft skills are actually essential for any career in IT, not only for cybersecurity. But when it comes to cybersecurity, it's a powerful and dominating role in any organization. So certain specific soft skills are essential to perform an impactful job in cybersecurity. So in Sri Lanka also, when we talk about soft skills, technical skills gap, not only technical skills, actually, there is a shortage in soft skills in cyber security professionals as well. So this is not actually a big deal to improve soft skills within ourselves. So little bit of commitment and little effort is required to build it within ourselves. That's what I wanted to add.
Thanks, Chadika. I think all three, said it to the actual point, soft skills are needed, undoubtedly. And you can learn that as you progress in your career. It shouldn't hinder you getting into the field. So that is actually an advantage to getting to the field. You don't have to be really technical savvy to get into cybersecurity, from what I'm hearing. So we can conclude, I think, that profession in the organizations, the companies, are actively looking for other valuable non-technical skills and attributes that the new workforce can bring in to the table in securing our assets, right? So from soft skills, I just want to take a quick look at the technical skills. Anu, the next question: what sort of technical skills should a person educate themselves on or gain experience in when they're trying to get into cybersecurity?
So like Nivedita mentioned before, there are plenty of opportunities. You can, penetration testing or ethical hacker that we call them, analysts, auditors. You can be a consulting engineer. So there are plenty of options within this domain. So that the path you want to pursue really depends on where your interest lies, right? And you can be any one of these. You can even be like a security software engineer. So each of these opportunities actually have certifications that are very specific to them. If you're someone who's interested in network security, you can start with the CCNA certification, which is Cisco's associate level networking certification, grow on to take your professional level security certification, and then expert level as well. And that's, from a networking point of view. If you want to go into, like a network administrator, security administrator for a company, nothing better than CISSP, right? Which contains so much of valuable information to help you with that job. Or if you're someone who's, for the auditors, there is CISA, right? CISA is one of the certifications that are there. But that's not the only option. There are plenty of other avenues that are present for you to at least even just get started into this. If you have that interest and that curiosity, there are short courses that you can take on plenty of portals like Udemy, Coursera, and as part of Cisco, we have something called as NetAcad, which has introductory courses which are free. So a lot of these can be explored, and once you feel comfortable enough to go further, start off with your certification slowly, and then graduate on to the associate, professional, beginner, intermediate, and advanced level of that certification. And even like if you don't feel ready enough to sign up for a course, commit to a 60-hour course or a 1-week course, start off by reading articles. There are lots of portals out there like medium.com and thedarkreading.com. All of these specifically have articles on cybersecurity, which talks about what's going on in the world today in this field. So just some tips and tricks that might help.
Thank you, Anu. So what you're saying is, there's a lot of technical skills, but like you said, there's intermediary, then advanced, then the beginners on the other end, and there are free resources available. And there's definitely, it was mentioned, the 4 domains of security, right? You can see where your interest is and get those information. Nivedita, what's your insight on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So if there is any student or entry-level person that is not acquainted with the field of cybersecurity, the first question that they want to ask is, how can I be competitive in this game of things where I can actually land a job? So they start exploring certifications. And from the other side of the table, where we are hiring managers, one of the key things is that we consider in a certification is the credibility of the institution where they're taking the certification from, because there's a lot that goes into like the research and the creation of those modules. So one of my key recommendations would be to look at credible institutions that can give you an overarching view, such as ISC2 has itself right now come up with a entry-level certification, which is very good. We also have free courses like Anu shared. Something additional is the IT Masters short courses. So there are a lot of short courses. There are also courses from CompTIA, plus that a lot of newbies adopt as well. So, and then LinkedIn Learning is something that you can very easily access as well. So there are these courses where you can also take labs, and that gives you like a feel, hands-on feel. You should be attending hackathons, which is mostly free, so you can develop some confidence around what happens in the cybersecurity world, attend conferences. So those are some of the avenues or instruments through which you can develop your skills. But like Anu said, I'll again echo her thoughts that a lot of reading. So if you're passionate about it, because cybersecurity is enormous, it's overwhelming. Like every day there is something new. So you don't want to be overwhelmed by the information that is there. So you have to go through some of the basic courses. And again, it depends upon your interest in the area. You have to, so we can go and deep dive into those in the next few discussion items. But interest area is very important, because you have to think from a future perspective on what you want to ultimately be, and adopt a pathway that leads you to it.
Mike is acting up. So thank you, Nivi. I think, you said it nicely. It's depending on the interest you have and what path you want to follow. And like you and Anu both iterated, you have to read. At least, I think, even in any other profession, you have to set aside few hours a day, 1 hour, even at least 1 hour per day to read and, just gather your thoughts and, make notes and figure out where you want to be and just upskill yourself gradually. And I think it's an interesting initiative that ISC Squared has, launched for beginners, entry level. You don't need to even know about IT to get into this course. It's not really a certification, but it's sort of a powerful tool to employers that you prove that you can learn and grow on the job as well. So I think that's a great initiative. Thank you for highlighting that, Nivi. So moving on, I wanted to ask Shadika. In Sri Lanka, we talked about, I know we talked about, reading, Anu talked about reading, what are the resources available there. I think we have participants from Sri Lanka here as well. Chantika, from Sri Lanka aspect, what sort of resources or certificates are available for candidates?
Okay, Sam, there are some infrastructure and resources being developed in Sri Lanka for beginners in cybersecurity. There are several online platforms, learning platforms also available. that was introduced by several organizations like SLASCOM. For example, Future Career Bridge platform developed by SLASCOM gives beginners the opportunity to learn cybersecurity from the basic level, and it is completely free of charge, and anyone can learn and show the competency to the industry and secure suitable placement also in the IT industry through this platform. In addition to that, there are a lot of training programs, mentoring sessions for cybersecurity conducted by industry professional organizations, industry professionals for beginners to attract them to the cybersecurity field. Also, there are ample amount of opportunities in the global platforms like mentioned by Nivedita. Sometimes, most of the time, these platforms can be used at affordable cost, and this is a great opportunity for Sri Lankan candidates who are trying to start their careers in cybersecurity.
Thanks, Radhika. So, folks listening in, read. There are online resources available. You can graduate from beginner, intermediate to advanced at your own pace and based on your interests. So thank you, ladies, for those insights and guidance. I know that we were talking about people who want to enter, who want to join the workforce. I want to take a different view now, probably pose this question to Anu. So I think we figured out that you don't really need to have IT knowledge to get into the field, right? But is it possible for someone to transition from a different field into cybersecurity? And what is your experience around that?
Absolutely, yes. I actually work with a lot of women who are trained, studied different subjects, but are cybersecurity specialists today. That's their official designation. One of my very closest friends, she's part of Cisco Australia team. She's a lawyer turned cybersecurity specialist. I know teachers, women who were trained to be teachers who turned into cybersecurity specialists. So I think we've established you don't need an IT background for this domain. And given the amount of demand there is in this domain, now is the time to get cracking on it, right? Use plenty of resources that are available to you. Most of them are free and give you what you need at this point to at least get started. And if you're working in a different domain, and if you're here today listening to this webinar, then you already obviously have some amount of curiosity or interest to understand, right? So just harp on that. Take that forward. I would suggest stay on top of everything that's new, slowly read up on stuff and, take it forward into a certification. And then, it will make you ready for a job in this field as well. Another thing I would suggest is hackathons, which Nivedita touched on before. Things like hackathons or Capture the Flag, which is a really fun gamified event, which are available free as well for you to get some hands-on. It'll give you an idea about your acumen in this field. I host a lot of Capture the Flags within Cisco as the lead for the women in cybersecurity. And I have seen so many women who are not part of the security domain in Cisco attempt these and actually love them and understand what it takes to get started in this field. So it's up to you. The resources are there. Just go ahead and explore.
I'd also like to add, thank you, Anu. I'd also like to add that there are many scholarships. We cannot be discussing about empowering women without those scholarships that are prevalent. There are so many communities that are driving initiatives in terms of mentoring and even tangible outcomes from mentoring, where mentors are recruiting mentees into their teams as well. Once they have established that relationship and they have trained them and they're recruiting them. So a lot is going on in this space. Also look at the magazines. such as cybersecurity magazines. There's one in Australia, which is free for you to access, which is called Women in Cybersecurity magazine. And you will get a lot of information that we are talking about, plus additional information about it. Also subscribe to one of the channels that can, send all these alerts to your mailbox on a daily basis on what's happening across the world in the world of cybercrime and hacking and all that stuff. So what I very frequently use is silo breaker alerts. So you can go into the website and subscribe. I have benefited hugely from it. Also, a lot of threat reports that you should be reading is also something that you can access freely. And then there are a lot of standards that within cybersecurity industry that we use, such as NIST standards or ISO 27001 standards. All these resources are freely available. So like I said, there's enormous amount of information if you just want to learn, and learning is very important compared to certifications. So you do certifications for a purpose. Yes, it gives you that tangible credibility to apply for jobs. But the most important thing to do is be passionate about learning about cybersecurity as a whole, and just keep learning and keep it as a continuous loop.
Thank you, Devi, for that. Yes. So there's fun stuff to do to learn. Like hackathons, like Anu said, and there's magazines and a lot of information out there. But I think we need to take a step back and tell everyone, like we initially said, look at your interests, what it is, then decide what is out there, at what pace you want to go, and then start on it. And of course, if you're in a different field, don't be scared. It doesn't take IT knowledge. You can get into the field, and we are looking for more women to join and diversify and bring in more expertise, different expertise and skills into cybersecurity, right? Anu, I just want to talk to Anu a bit. Now our technology keeps changing. The threat landscape keep changing, and so cybersecurity landscapes keep changing. For people in the workforce now, whether it's CTOs or analysts or project management or security administrators, or what are the new trends and resources that an individual should focus on in 2022, or emerging trends?
Rightly said, Sam. This is such a fast-changing field. Like Nivedita said, there are new things coming up on an everyday basis, right? And it'll be something completely new. It won't have any basis on anything that you know or understood in the past years. So naturally, there is a curve to this job. Being in this security field, you have to stay on top of it depending on what kind of a role you're part of. If you're part of incident response, your role becomes very vital to understanding how to contain it, right? How do we get those customers across into safer land, right? And make sure that they're not panicking about their business, they're not losing money. So staying on top of it, if your job already gives you resources to ramp up on it, great. Like as part of Cisco, we have a lot of blogs that are written, talosintelligence.com and Cisco blogs.cisco.com and so on. But other than that, to stay on top of all of these attacks that are happening, the cyber warfare that's happening now with the Ukraine-Russia situation that we have ongoing. So a lot of this shows up in different portals, like darkreading.com is one of my favorite ones to hit, and it has a lot of details about what these attacks look like today. Krebs on security, that's another really interesting portal. It's a very different viewpoint to every problem that we have. And another probably a surprising avenue I have realized is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a large ocean where there are people from so many different fields, and with every vulnerability, like the Apache Log4, the one that we had very, very recently in December, there were so many different viewpoints that were shared for this vulnerability, and the fix and the patches and everything that had to be rolled out very quickly. So it's very important to keep on top of that. And another one more thing that I want to mention is LinkedIn is a place where you can build a lot of connections. You can follow those folks who are very passionate about this field, who have a lot to say about the new upcoming trends and resources that are available. So find out those personalities and follow them. And you never know, your next job could come through a connection that you know through LinkedIn. So it's a very important medium. So that's something.
Yeah, I know. That's true. That's true. And you have a lot of groups and forums in LinkedIn where it discusses about 2022 trends, what happened in 2021, what's going to predictions in 2023 or 5-year predictions. So those are really great insights where you can really keep track of what the trends are to focus on. And I think another one is all the organizations are going through business transformation, digital transformation, right? And within the organizations, so the security aspects of those transformation, digital products, solutions that are coming in to increase the market or capture the customers, those are also great things to focus on as well. We are moving into cloud computing altogether, from on-prem to cloud computing. I think those are also a lot of work happening around that in cybersecurity. So I think that's another area to focus on as well in terms of cloud and AI and machine learning as well. So before we break on to the final question for all three, Chandrika, I just want to get your view on from the Sri Lanka perspective as well.
Yes. Actually, in Sri Lanka, the investments are being made on cybersecurity these days, Sam. There are several organizations in Sri Lanka relating to cybersecurity. Sri Lanka CERT, TechCERT, ICT Agency of Sri Lanka, and there are several military establishments also working on cybersecurity. So they are acting as national bodies for building policies, legislations, and standards, and building the environment conducive for cybersecurity professions. So in addition to that, as the reverse trend, we can say that the new two establishments of companies recently they established in Sri Lanka. One is owned by a cricket celebrity, and one was owned by eminent personality in the IT industry in Sri Lanka, because they have foresee the security as the future. So these are the new trends in Sri Lanka. In addition to that, there are a lot of industry associations in Sri Lanka and Sri Lankan chapters of international organizations similar to Women in Cybersecurity and ISACA. They are also very enthusiastically contributing to the development of cybersecurity industry in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, so it was interesting what's happening in Sri Lanka. I've been away for a while, but it's really great to hear all these initiatives and all these institutes and getting together and trying to increase awareness, upskill our people, and getting all the talent in the right talent in also to the workforce. So thanks, Chandrika, for that. Before we go on to the questions, I think there is a question. I'll probably take it at the end. I asked all three, I want to pose this to all three. We'll go in alphabetical order. We are saying there's a shortage, but we already have people on board in the cybersecurity profession. What suggestions can you give to organizations to retain these individuals and also upskill them? So Anu, first.
Yeah. Right, Sam. So as a manager, as a leader, retaining talent is my number one priority, right? And from Cisco's point of view, we invest a lot into training programs for our talent, offering incentives as part of it. And that does help to some extent to retain and upskill them at the same time, right? But what I've seen is a community, a feeling of belonging to a community is very important in any organization, wherever you are. And when you're part of a community, it can be formed like in a large organization like Cisco, there are tons of them, right? But to be able to publicize them and let the employees know that this exists and you are welcome to come and be a part of it, that is very important. And as leaders, we try and get them exposure to different domains through these communities. We run events through it. Like the Women in Cybersecurity chapter within Cisco, we're focused on creating that awareness around security, especially folks who don't know anything about security, right? And we do capture the flag events, we do threat hunting events, giving them exposure through different talks, getting guests on board. So these things help. But at the same time, I think every employee needs to know every avenue that is available to them within an organization. A lot of people, I have seen the attrition happens when they feel they have hit a level of learning, right? And that learning has stopped and they look for other avenues. But in any environment, in any organization, there will always be options to choose from. And being aware of that, keeping them informed of it, that's very important.
Thanks, Anu. Chantika, how about you?
Yes, that like you correctly mentioned, we see a lot of opportunities in the cybersecurity industry as well as IT industry. So also we see a less tendency for women to join the IT industry and cybersecurity area. As leaders, we should try to drive this change. As mothers, sisters, leaders, and friends, we should play that role of driving the change and attract, especially women, to these opportunities. In addition to that, in order to retain the available workforce, ICT also conducting a lot of programs, conversion programs, upskilling and reskilling programs to retain existing workforce, and giving high attention on attracting women to this area. In addition to that, we should accelerate all the national activities that we have already implemented to retain women. In organizational level, we should have a proper motivation mechanism, not only with monetary benefits, but also with kind of non-monetary benefits such as training and development, continuous improvements, and career advancements to retain our present workforce.
I think, Chantika, you said it nicely. Career advancement. I think we women in organization should pull each other up. And, you know, when we see some talent which needs to progress, we should support, mentor, especially women in the arena. So Nivedita, I'll probably hand it over to you to give your insights before we go into the Q&A session.
So the question to the organizations, the message to the organization is number one, relax the requirements, understand your requirements when you're posting a job advertisement, especially for entry-level roles. Ensure that your leaders are very clear about what the role is and make sure that the processes are optimized enough so that it's clear for the person to understand this is my job that I will be doing. Also establish clear pathways internally on how they could progress to any other team within your business, and also like identify that with your peers. So as a leader, retention at any level within the cybersecurity industry is very hard because the market is very hot. So essentially anybody that's skilled and specialized and experienced in this field is sought after. These days, headhunting is happening not at the top level, but even at the lower levels because we can't find candidates. So giving them a holistic picture of how they fit in, I touched on this before as well, into the entire vision of your organization's cybersecurity purpose, and setting the direction of travel right for each individual, establishing our strategies and roadmaps in a way that every individual is exposed to it, giving them exposure, and also making sure that they are visible in front of the key stakeholders will keep them interested. Like bring them on to the steering committee meetings and let them present on what they have done, establish their KPIs and actionable goals for the year, establish where they want to go. So ask them, where do you want to be in 3 years' time? And all that stuff is very important in terms of retention, because that is something that they will feel that this organization and each of its team members is invested in them, in their career journey. So yes, you may not have, for each individual, you may not have a career path within the business, but empower them with enough decision-making power, authority, visibility, exposure, support, so that if they have to go to another organization, we are confident that we can actually provide that pathway to them and be very clear from the very beginning that if you don't identify, or if we cannot identify something internally, then this is how we will help you. And even if it is about referencing or using your networks, your existing networks with your industry peers, on setting them up with another organization where they are interested in. Maybe tomorrow they want to become a pen tester and you don't have an internal pen tester opportunity, but your peer organization has. So that is something that the organizations should do.
That's a beautiful thought, getting other organization to take on board whoever wants to move, but not letting them go, but keeping that network. You may need them later, right? So that's a beautiful thought. Sujit, I think you have your virtual hand up for a long time, so over to you.
Yeah, Sam, thank you, Sam. I mean, my hand is hurting as well. Been keeping my hands up for a long time. Right, that's on a lighter note, right? So just to add to all the lovely thoughts and inspiration which we have drawn from Anu, Chadika, and Nivedita, I'd like to also add the IC Squared Colombo chapter is also doing its part in terms of empowering not just women, but all about anyone who wants to, take on the career path in cybersecurity. So as a first step, we've also started recently a study group, which is mentored and facilitated by the credential holders to help people prepare not only for the credentials of IC Squared, but also help them to refresh in terms of the best practices, share experience, and help them to navigate the maze in terms of the cybersecurity puzzle. So we do this every Saturday, and there are a few days which we do it on a weekend. It's a 2-hour session, and those of you who would like to join us, you're most welcome to become a member. And for those who are members, these sessions are free. It's free of cost, one. Number two, we are also a partner with a program called STEM Up, right? And I just
Sorry,
yeah. So I've actually shared the link on the chat. STEMup.lk, IC Squared Colombo chapter is a partner, and it is about STEM Up, and we are out there. Our credential holders are members who have actually volunteered to be mentors. So if those of you who are out there who need a mentor to figure out what should be your next career move, or even what should you be doing to get to the next level, right? So we are out there. We can help you not just mentor with your career aspirations, but also if you are trying to solve problems on the job, right? Confidentiality is assured. So we have the professionals who are out there who subscribe to the code of ethics. You can always reach out to any one of them. You can choose who you want to work with. So we have that platform as well. So you can actually make use of that, right? And so with that, I just want to, ask a question. I think Anita has asked a question, and she wants to ask all the panelists, what does it take to be what you are as a leader, right? So if I were to rephrase that question again, let me get the question. She's asking, how is life of women in cybersecurity leader in a day? So what is it in a day for you in your life to be the leader who you are? Right, so Nivedita, you're on screen right now, so we'll start with you, and then you can pass the baton on to the next person who you would like them to comment. Right, Nivedita, over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Sujit. Some really good points, by the way, that you just made. It was very good. So as a leader, it is no different from your male counterpart. To be honest, it really depends upon, for me personally, it depends upon how good my leader is, so my manager, how much I have to learn from him, to look from him or her as a manager, the culture of the organization itself that supports women. So a lot of organizations do bring in women into the field through the gender balance quotas. And that sometimes create challenges with stereotyping women being non-technical. And that is something the industry is trying to break the myth on. And therefore I promote, although initially to get into the field, you don't have to have technical knowledge, but to move up in the field, I believe that technical knowledge definitely helps. You can still sustain without much of a technical knowledge. You could just be a risk manager, and you could be a chief security risk officer 10 years down the line. But that is very important. So as a leader, how good your team is, how much you're empowered, how much decision-making authority you have. So there are many leaders without decision-making authority, without people management roles and responsibilities, which does not encourage women to grow. So I would say that is something that a day in a life of cybersecurity leader would be doing the same things that your male counterparts will be doing. Mostly stakeholder management, was also management of your team. And then there is a progressive year roadmap that you need to maintain, and you need to establish and implement solutions, as well as deliver on the services that you provide within your specific function.
Thank you, Nivedita. Who do you want to come next?
Maybe Anu.
Thanks, Nivedita. Rightly said, no different from our male counterpart. We're all good. I mean, when it comes down to it, work is work, right? It doesn't matter if it's being done by a man or a woman. And the life of a woman in cybersecurity. So I started out my career as an individual contributor. I was a security TAC engineer for the first 5 years. I got a lot of hands-on on security products. I moved into a consulting engineer role, and then decided to move on to a leadership role. I think one thing that really helped across this journey was that I managed to stay technical. I think even as a leader, it doesn't matter if you're not an IC or you are an IC, you need to be technical. In today's world, you need to understand what's going on with the field that you're involved in. As part of security, you need to understand what's coming up next. Today, I am part of the product management team at Cisco, which means that we work dedicatedly on improving the security products of Cisco, specifically firewalls. So we are constantly evolving with every release. We're adding in new features that will better help protect our customers, protect them from everything that is coming up tomorrow, right? And that can be a threat to their businesses. We do a lot of analysis in competitive space to check how we are doing against them. And we work very, very closely with our sales team to enable them to go out and sell our solutions. So it's a very multifunctional team, and it's an exciting role and a team to be part of. That's what my day-to-day looks like.
Okay, in my experience, I joined the IT industry 12 years back. And when I joined the IT industry, it was highly dominated by males, and female participation was less than 20% in Sri Lanka. Sometimes most of the meeting, I was the only female sitting in middle of a lot of males. But I think I can recommend this industry as one of the safest industries in the world. And being the female representation, only female representation, I got a lot of opportunities to climb up the ladder. A lot of males have helped me a lot to become a leader today. So I highly recommend all females to join this industry as one of the safest industry. I take my story as an example for all other women.
Radhika, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts, right? And today, I think it's been a constant challenge, and I think we can talk to Anu. She would also share concerns, for the women who are working out there in different fields, not necessarily in IT. But I mean, this is very encouraging, especially for Sri Lankan as a destination, not only destination for tourism, but also from a IT BPO perspective. It's very encouraging to hear that this is one of the safest industry for women to work. Well done. Sam, over to you.
Thanks, Sujit. So I think Anita, right, who posed that question. Let me hope I get the name correct. Yeah, Anita. So I think the life of a woman leader in cybersecurity is very vast. It's not stagnant. You learn every new things. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and you need to take the initiative. But it's not a dull thing, and it's similar to the male counterparts. Nothing new, nothing to get worried about. It's just another day, I guess, with a bit of additional challenge, but it's another day. So before I hand over to Samani, I know we are conscious of time.
Then may I interrupt you? Maybe you should share what is it in your life in a day, right? You did brief, but I've known you for several years, right? So I've seen how you have come from the software industry to where you are today. A little insight in terms of what it is to be what you are today.
Sure. So I actually started my career as a software programmer. When DBase was popular as a programming language. You can guess my age, so don't guess it, but you can guess my age. Then from there I went in to basically IT audits. Then I moved on to the business, joined the business where I was doing IT consultancy. So we studied a different field altogether, looked at security strategies, application reviews, business process re-engineering. So different, totally different from, looking at a computer and coding. There you have to face customers and your internal stakeholders. Then I went into actually audit, and I was part of Dialogue. I was heading the IT audit function there. So again, different set of skills, different set of work environment, and a lot of opportunities to grow. So again, I'm still in the internal audit arena, but I'm also involved in cybersecurity reviews, ISO reviews, and I do application reviews, and our company is going to develop digital products, blockchain. So I'm also learning and upskilling, right? So, but as I grow, my skills levels, soft skills levels become more required, probably 70%. My technical is less because if you learn the basic, it's just become natural. So it's varied. I've grown different things every day, whether it's a management request to look at a policy, whether it's working, look at ISO 27001 requirement. Are they fulfilling it? To doing an actual audit on application to look at have the controls are there in application. So very different, very fast moving, and very interesting. So Sujit, that's me in a nutshell for all these.
Thank you, Sam.
Positives.
I will let you handle.
Yeah, I
the
will continue. I'm conscious of the time.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, I would like to ask each of the panelists, what single thought or insight can you give to the participants here today to take away from all the various discussion topics we had covered, from the need for the skills, what you need to consider, what are the types of skills, technical, soft skills, different parts of all those. One key thing you want them to take away. So I'll start with Anu. I prefer alphabetical order.
Sure. Thanks, Sam. I think one thing I want to leave the audience with is, if you have the passion and the interest, take it forward to fuel a career in security. If you think reading's too boring, try the fun gamified approaches to get some exposure. Remember that security is across every technology. You can take collaboration, you can take routing, you can take anything else, right? Voice technologies, everything. Security will be across those. So it is that relevant. And as a diversity candidate, this world welcomes you. We just need you to ramp up and stay on top of this. And security isn't just someone in a hoodie, like Nivedita rightly said. It's a very, very broad domain. There are plenty of opportunities to suit every interest of yours. Explore them, and we're here in case you need mentoring. If you have questions that we can help answer.
Thanks, Anu. Shadika, over to you.
Yes. Today we discuss about a lot of opportunities in the cybersecurity profession. And I request everyone who are connected with us today to put some effort to take this message to the masses and create a trend to attract professionals, especially females, into this industry. And this is one of the safest and fastest growing industries, like we mentioned a couple of times. So we want to take this message to the community that you are dealing with. Thank you very much, Sam, all the speakers, and thank you very much to everyone.
Thanks, Shadika. Over to you, Nivedita.
Thank you. So to the women today, I'd like to say, increase your risk appetite. So when you do apply or you're looking for a job, you don't need to meet the 100% criteria. So when men are looking for the jobs, if they just meet 50% criteria, they jump onto it that I can do the job. If women are looking for a job, they are looking for like 95% meeting the criteria. We are not looking for it. It's just a job description that a manager has created so that that is being established through the HR system. It doesn't mean that you have to do everything. Ask for informal chats with your manager, or whoever is the hiring manager that has advertised, because that will give you a sense of the culture of the organization itself, that they are promoting those informal chats for you to know more about where you fit in, what are the opportunities for you. And that is something that I would definitely encourage, because that's happening a lot in the industry. So do that. Take initiative as well. Once you have your first formal chat with your hiring manager, or whatever job you have identified, or even something that is going to come up in the future, do some homework about how you are going to contribute to that role. Ask those relevant questions on what exactly you have to do, and be proactive and propose that plan, that if you hire me into this entry-level role, these are the things that I will do for you. This is what I have to offer in each of these categories of the roles and responsibilities that I have. So I'd leave you with that message, that be proactive, reach out to people, network, increase your risk appetite, please, because we are looking for candidates. And my manager said this very interesting thing to me, that if any female has applied, it is worth interviewing her because she must be very confident that she has even applied. So yeah, so please apply, and we are looking for you, and we will explain to you on what exactly you have to do. We will modify and optimize our processes so that it's easy for you.
Brilliant. Thank you, ladies, for sharing those great insights. It's inspiring for me as well, and I'm sure inspiring for the audience here. And I really enjoyed the conversation today. For me, I think the message I want to take is simple. As we enter, women enter and continue to succeed in the profession, we should also serve as role models for the women, pull them up, and mentor them, let them grow, ensure that you provide those opportunities. And when that happens, you make the workforce more diverse, and it results in more innovation and helps address the cybersecurity problems and the skills gap as well. So that's the final message I want to leave all the participants with. We hope all of you found the insights, tips, and guidance shared by the panelists here inspiring, and inspire you to wish to pursue a career in cybersecurity. So please do start the journey. There are more than enough resources and support available. The Women in Cybersecurity Initiative of ISC Colombo chapter is also there to support you. As Sujit mentioned, there's so many resources. Don't hesitate. We will compile a list of resources we discussed during this discussion. We will send it across to all the participants who have registered as well, to help, as a first step. So to conclude, I'll hand over the session to Samani and Suhashini.
So before Suhashini comes in, right, I just want to make a comment. So right now, this is being live on several social media platforms, to name a few, LinkedIn and Facebook. So whatever material, supporting material, which we have, which we can share, we will post it in that thread. And also I request all of you to pass this message on, share the videos with them so the recording is available. It's been very insightful, and I'm sure you can listen to it again, go through the resources available, and reach out to us for whatever help we need. And all the ladies on this session are available to mentor all of you. Thank you. Suhashini.
Thank you, Santi and Sujit. So that was a wonderful, interesting and insightful discussion, actually. Even I learned a lot. Before I start, actually, Suhashini is having a bit of a technical issue today, so I will be continuing with the vote of thanks. So, yeah, on behalf of the ISC Square Colombo Chapter Women in Cybersecurity Committee, we would like to offer our heartfelt thanks to our marvelous panelists, Anu M. Chako, Nivedita Newar, and Chadika Hampath for sharing their invaluable and inspiring insights with us. And the moderator, our own Samanthi Sudariku, the Diversity Director of ISC Square Colombo Chapter, and the leader of the Women in Cybersecurity Committee. Not to forget the president of ISC Square Colombo Chapter, Sujit Christie, for his immense support and guidance, and other board members of ISC Square Colombo Chapter for their assistance. Next, we would like to thank Articulate for their collaboration to make this a successful event, national partners, Information and Communication Technology Agency Sri Lanka, ICTA as we all know it, community partner ISACA Sri Lanka Chapter, and the SUFA ladies in ISC Square Colombo Chapter Women in Cybersecurity Committee for working tirelessly to make this event a success. Last but not least, to all the participants, thank you very much for spending your evening with us today. You all are welcome to become members of the ISC Square Colombo Chapter. We have shared a survey link in the chat and kindly requesting you all to share your thoughts there. Please look forward to our upcoming discussion on the increase in cyberbullying, which is going to happen soon. Finally, we have two interesting messages for you. We would like to invite you to join a panel discussion on cyber insurance organized by FITIS which will be moderated by the president of ISC Square Colombo chapter, Sujit Christie, which will happen on 29th March, 3 p.m. onwards. And we have another interesting webinar on threat intelligence organized by ISC Square Colombo chapter on 30th March, 3 p.m. onwards. Please watch out for further details on registration links for these events on the ISC Square Colombo chapter social media platforms. Thank you very much again. Have a good day, good evening.